Today we're going to be redesigning this FedEx shipping tracker in under 1 minute, then under 10 minutes, then under 100 minutes. Good design is really a function of how long someone is willing to stare at a screen and make something look good and function well. And I hope this video proves that today. So here we've got our style guide as always with the FedEx color palette, and we're going to be using Myriad Pro as the font, a really clean sans font. We don't need to overthink this. Here's the stories, all the things I want this interface to do. At the end of the day, just track the package and get an estimate, maybe find another package or contact support. So I've got my timer app here set to 1 minute and 5 seconds, 5 seconds to get my hands on the keyboard. I think that's fair. So obviously a minute's not very long. I'm gonna have to take some serious shortcuts here and get a little froggy with things. But let's just see what happens. First thing, we'll need a little logo, so we'll just do FedEx. Beautiful. And then we're probably also going to need a little, maybe a search box up here with a number like 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll have some stops here, here, and we'll have like a check mark when it's delivered. So location 1. Location 2, and then up here we'll have like a question mark to contact support maybe, and then just like we probably want a general status, so we'll have like delivered, and then happy face, destination. Yeah, I think this is about as good as you'll get. Maybe a little separator up here for the header navigation, and then yeah, looks good to me for about a minute of work. We can obviously do better here, so we'll try the 10-minute version here. Won't be able to build any components or anything, but I'm hoping that Figma's auto layout can kind of carry us through. Get the timer started and see what we come up with. Not really making very many changes to the header here. We're just making sure that users can access the main menu and then quickly contact support if they find something's wrong with their delivery. And although 10 minutes is definitely not enough to do the whole thing here, I just wanted to make sure that at the very least we got the information hierarchy sorted. And the very first thing that I want to see when I'm checking a FedEx tracking link is when is it going to be here, or are there any issues? And that's what we're handling here. Oh man. All right, so this is I'm ashamed because this is what I came up with after about 10 minutes of design. There's some initial signs of life in this design. I just wanted to share with the community that most designers, I feel, the first time around when they're trying to design an interface from scratch, they'll come up with something that's okay, but just has lots of problems. Like right now, the visual hierarchy is totally messed up. There's a lot of weird, inconsistent usage of fonts throughout. There's weird issues with white space everywhere. The header's okay. I like the header. It's easy to make a header. It's gonna take some more time. Really think about this and put like 100 minutes into this UI, so we can sort of prove my hypothesis that design is really just how long do you want to spend looking at something and judging it and re-engineering it until you arrive at a really clean UI. So just gonna get going on that one, and we'll see what we come up with. The first thing that I'm fixing is adding some more visual distinction to the main information that we're trying to display here. The first thing I want to see is when will my package be here and are there any issues? So we're just putting it inside a floating card container and then adding some more information to this to give some additional context. Now that I have a little more time, the first thing I'm going to do is create a component for the individual events on the delivery timeline. This gives me the flexibility to change little things about each individual state without having to go back and change all of the other stuff for all of the other instances of that component. So it's a huge time save here, and you just need a little bit more time to do it. So definitely going to smash this in there. Took me quite a long time to really flesh out the nuances of what the different states should really look like, and I'm playing around with different uses of color and opacity to draw the user's attention specifically to what I imagine they would want to see, which is the next most relevant step in their package's journey on its way to them. This just goes to show you that sometimes you just need to stare at something for a couple of hours until it makes sense. I don't actually get this finished until the very end of this experiment. As I was thinking through the flow here, I thought that users might want a way to subscribe to maybe text push notifications whenever their package moves to the next step in this timeline here. And it's little things like this that add a tremendous amount of value to the user's journey, but oftentimes you just don't think about them until you've immersed yourself in the design for a little bit. Again, it just takes time. Here you'll see I'm quite frustrated trying to find a space to put this status badge in here. You can see if I put it on the left, it puts way too much weight on the left side of this container, which makes the whole thing look unbalanced. I need to figure out a way to put something on the right, and it's not until about half an hour later that I decide to move the in-transit icon over to the right and then just place all the other text on the left, and it just looks so much more balanced and clear. I was really torn here because I would imagine that the user wants to see the next relevant step first, but I didn't want to reverse the timeline and just show everything in reverse, because then you're also showing a different kind of irrelevant piece of information. So I think the more appropriate treatment was to just show a little toggler that allows you to hide the past activity, and only the most recent current step shows, and that shows first, giving users the option to actually look back in time if they really want to. Here I'm just taking a step back and looking at the UI as a whole to make sure that nothing is pulling attention inappropriately. And I'm really playing with lots of different treatments for this Get Delivery Notifications button, because although it's important, I don't want it to be pulling visual attention too much. It's already floating at the bottom of the screen, and users' attention should be focused more at the main content body. So really just playing around with lots of different things here and making lots of fine tweaks to polish up the UI and make it feel much more clean. Now, since I had a bit of extra time, I wanted to go through and handle some edge cases where the package is maybe arriving earlier or it maybe got lost in transit. I felt like there was an easy opportunity here to just help the user feel a little happier, a little more delightful about receiving their package by hitting them with a notification that, hey, something special has happened and you're actually getting it earlier than expected. And a similar treatment is applied for the error state, which we'll get to shortly. All right, did a bunch of extra stuff there to try and pad the timer, but we're still about 5 minutes early. I'm gonna stop there anyway. There's no sense in continuing to do any more. It's a relatively simple UI. As you can see, I mean, this is significantly improved, right? As soon as you hit this page, you see the anticipated arrival date and time, which is essentially what I'm looking for. Like, that's the information I need. You also get the status. So in the event that for some reason there is a breach in the status, or it just isn't moving anywhere for some reason, you're immediately alerted to that. In addition to that, if you really want to dig through the timeline and see precisely where your package is, you can do that here, right? And if you want to sign up for delivery updates, you could also pop your phone number in there as well. So pretty significant improvement, I would say. There's definitely some things that you could do to make this even better. I think specifically this timeline feature, if I had like another 4 hours, I could really get into the nitty-gritty and make it a lot more modern. So here we've got, we went from 1 minute, just a simple wireframe, like a sketch on a napkin. We've got our 10-minute rendering, which isn't that bad. It kind of does everything we need it to do, but it's not very pretty. And then we've got, of course, our 100-minute, hour and a half design, where we really take the time to think about the information hierarchy and all the interactivity that we need to solve the design problem. So let me know what you think in the comments. Hope you took a little design nugget out of this, and have a great week. Bye.